We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
1,
2,
3,
4.
Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors, welcome once again to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. I am one of your hosts, Precious D.
And I am the other one of your hosts, Honeybee.
Honeybee and I are two best friends making our way through the history of kaiju movies. We began in 1933 with King Kong. We began 2 years ago, but with the 1933 movie, King Kong.
Well, technically, we began in like 2004 or something like that.
You mean the two of us?
Yeah.
Just the two of us. We met in 2004. Just the two of us. Possibly January 2005.
Possibly. Somewhere around there.
Anywho, Honeybee, I'm going to bitch about T-Moble.
Yeah,
but
let's hear it.
I'm going to then cut it and put it after the closing credits so that if anybody doesn't care, they can just turn off when the closing theme song begins.
Or if they have T-Mobile, they may not have service to make it through the entire podcast.
Yeah. All right, folks, now we're going to talk about our movie. If you want to hear the T-Mobile rant, I might make a TikTok about it. I'm sure it'll go viral.
Do it. Do it.
But now we're talking about Gamera, Guardian of the Universe from 1995. This is the first of 3 or 4 Heisei Gamera movies, depending on how you're counting.
What do you mean?
I'm not sure if the 4th movie is still technically in the Heisei era, or if it's falls into the next one. And it was made years later. Like, they made 3 fairly close together, and then the next one isn't quite some time, and I don't think it's directly... Let me just look here. Yeah, this is 95. Gamera 2 is 96. Gamera 3 is 99. And then there's another one that's just not called Gamera 4. Gamera the Brave is not until 2006.
Oh.
I know I've looked it up before, but I don't remember exactly when the Heisei era is considered to end. But it does seem to be kind of maybe a separate movie, not really part of this series. So it just kind of depends on how you're counting them. But this is the beginning of a new era for Gamera.
I'm so happy.
It is directed by Shizuki Kaneko, written by Kazunori Ito. Music by Kao Otani, K-O-W Otani, not C-O-W Otani. Huh. It's produced by Daiei Films, but it was distributed by Toho.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see I was like, oh, this must be a joint production, because there was 2 different emblems at the front. There's the Toho one and then the other one. I was like, oh shit.
I always think it's funny.
So glad. Oh, go ahead.
I think you seem to see it a lot on smaller films more, but when you see sometimes 3 or 4 different studios listed at the beginning of the film, how many logos are you going to throw up here?
As many as it takes.
In association with this other studio and this other studio. So I'm not sure I realized this until this moment, but this surprises me then, because people keep asking for a Godzilla Gamera fight, and they've at least worked together with distributing this movie, so...
Oh shit, I don't think my heart could take it, honestly. A Godzilla Gamera fight? I don't know, man. I really don't know if I could handle it.
It is 95 minutes. It's in color. It cost $4.5 million and made $6 million.
Damn, I'm super glad we got a Gamera movie from this era, since we got like a Kong movie and Godzilla and Friends. I feel like it's only right that we get a Gamera movie too, because I'm not gonna lie, in the beginning there were some Gamera movies, just some, and in the beginning of it, that were better. I feel like they were like, there for a minute, Godzilla and Gamera, they were really neck and neck. And I know that Gamera went more like for the kids than Godzilla did, but I just liked some of those movies better early on. And now that we're here and we've gotten all of these like really amazing, like we got to see Kong kind of like better than, the 1933 version. We kind of got that, like, what was it, in the 80s? Or was it in the 80s? The Kong that we recently, the most recent Kong that we watched?
The most recent was King Kong Lives.
Yeah, with his baby mama.
From 86.
The baby mama drama. 86. Right. So yeah, so we got like a better Kong, and we've gotten like the badass Godzilla and the Mothra and the Mecha Ghidorah head and all this shit. So I feel like it's only right that we get this Gamera, and I was so stoked for it, and I was not ready for how much this movie kicked ass.
Yeah, I remember getting really good reviews at the time. Like Roger Ebert gave it a good review. Roger Ebert gave the film 3 stars out of 4, saying that despite its flaws, Gamera is more fun than mega budget solemnity like Air Force One, and that Gamera is not a good movie, but it is a good movie going experience.
Aww.
So he had fun. He had fun.
It was fun.
He's telling us he had fun.
But I thought it was such a good movie. Did you think it was a good movie?
Yeah. So I remember seeing that good review at the time and thinking, oh, well, I want to watch that. And I eventually acquired, I can't remember if it was a DVD or a VHS. I can't remember if I bought it or rented it. Might have got it from Netflix through the mail back then. But I know I did get to see it.
In the 90s?
Not in a theater, but I did get to see it. Yeah.
Netflix did shit in the 90s. I feel like that was like early 2000s, even whenever they were like sending stuff to your house.
They were founded in 97.
Wow. Well, go Netflix. We've seen you rise. We've seen you fall.
So, yeah, the DVDs are about to end from Netflix, but they're still sending them through September, I think, and they all say like 25th anniversary or something like that on them. And they're making a big deal about how long they've been doing this. I'm like, but you're about to stop doing it. So anyway, I don't know how I saw it, but I saw it. I just know it wasn't in the theater, but because of the good review, I wanted to see it. So, and the part that stuck with me, the main part I really remembered, because I forgot most of what the fuck happens in it, but the part that stuck with me was the dog getting snatched off its leash. You don't see it, you just hear it, and you see the leash kind of tighten and fall.
Yeah,
that was a very
it's a pretty memorable
image.
moment.
Yeah. So let's get into let's do the cast first. Sorry. We have Tsuyoshi Ihara as Yoshinari Yonamori, the Coast Guard officer, 3rd grade, and first navigation officer of the JCG Nojima. Shinobu Nakayama as Mayumi Nagamine, a gifted ornithologist who is also a friend of Asagi's.
Ooh, lady scientist.
Yeah. Ayoko
She's
Fujitani
a
as Asagi Kusanagi, a young girl who forms a spiritual bond with Gamera after she received an ancient pendant.
Conchita.
Yeah, she's a little old though.
She is, but she's still in school, and she's like a young girl.
Yeah, but I was surprised that there wasn't a younger kid in it. Akira Onodera as Naoya Kusanagi, Asagi's father. Yukijiro Hotaru as Inspector Osako, the Nagasaki Prefectural Police.
Fuck the police.
Hatsунori Hasagawa as Colonel Sataki. Hirotaro Honda as Masaki Saito, Deputy Director General of the Japan Environmental Agency. Naoki Manabe as Jun Suzuki as Gamera. Oh, and I'm sorry. Naoki Manabe and Jun Suzuki as Gamera. I don't know if they took turns or if it took two of them to operate him or what.
Maybe it's like in those like old like horse costumes where one person's the head and the other person's the butt.
Yumi Kanayama as Geos and Akira Kubo as Captain of the Kiyaru Maru.
Woo!
That's our cast. One of these days I'll read the names ahead of time and practice. So here we go with the summary from Wikipedia. Thank you, Wikipedia.
Thanks, Wiki.
A ship carrying plutonium collides with
Whoa.
a floating atoll off the eastern coast of the Philippines.
With a what?
What?
What did you say?
A floating atoll. Atoll.
Atoll. Okay, I got it.
You know, it's like a little island. But it's not.
Yeah.
It's Gamera is what it is. They're
Spoiler
off the eastern coast of the
alert!
Philippines.
Just kidding.
One of many incidents occurring throughout the area. As the anomalous formation approaches Japan, a team of scientists led by Naoya Kusanagi discovers orichalcum. Or, well, they call it orichalcum here, but I think it's orichalcum. Anyway, this is a mythical Atlantean metal. It's not a real thing at all. But it does show up in some ancient writings. But even then, it's being treated as not a real thing. As a sort of mythical super metal. Mm-hmm. Anyway, like they discover some, that kind of thing, but from ancient Greece. Mm-hmm. I'm sure people have theories about what it really is, but I can't be bothered to check right now. Anyway, they discover these amulets made of it. And they just speculate this might be orichalcum. And a stone slab covered in Etrurian runes on the atoll. During the investigation, the atoll suddenly quakes, destroying the slab and throwing the scientists into the ocean. One member of the team, the Japan Coast Guard officer Yoshinari Yonemori, sees the eye and tusk of a giant turtle.
It's so funny during this part because it's like, it's like shaking and the people are like falling around and then the camera just goes underwater and you just see like Gammy's little feet pop out. It's so funny. And then it like goes back to the people and then like it goes underwater and it's like bubble, 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 another foot. It's so funny.
Meanwhile, ornithologist Mayumi Nagamine investigates a village in the Goto archipelago reportedly attacked by a giant bird. So we see that attack first. That's the dog I was talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. While Nagamine is initially skeptical of the claims, she is horrified upon discovering human remains in a giant bird pellet. And by pellet, we mean poop.
I was like, my note is literally like, is this poop or vomit? And then when she like finds the glasses and the pen, I was like, definitely poop. Also, I have to say that Nagamine is a badass. I have that note so many times. She is such a badass.
Yes.
I love her. There are so many times throughout the movie where she does something and I'm like, yes! I love her. She's amazing. She's like my favorite lead woman that we've had. Lady scientist, I guess I should say. Right.
A pellet actually is, I was just looking it up though, because after I said it, I realized that might not be true. A pellet is actually sort of like vomit.
Oh, is it?
They regurgitate. It's not poop. Yeah, it's undigested parts of their food that they kind of cough up. They regurgitate.
It looks like, honestly, it could be either one when they're just fingering through it.
Yes. So it's,
like
it's the same thing. It came out the other end, but it's still food that wasn't properly digested. And it'll have bits of bone in it and stuff sometimes if you were eating people.
Yeah, sometimes glasses, pens.
Yep. Exploring the nearby forest, her team encounters and then successfully successfully prevents 3 bird-like creatures from attacking another village. To prevent further attacks, Nagamine agrees to aid the government in capturing the giant birds. The creatures are lured to the Fukuoka Dome baseball stadium.
Okay, wait, before we talk about this, before we get to the dome, there's this part in when Nagamine is in the helicopter and they're like trying to save the island and she starts taking pictures of Gaios, right? And so then it's like, like the light is like, oh God. And it's like, okay. I was like, this is like one of the first times that we actually see someone see that the light is affecting the thing and then right? But no, then we get to the dome and what did they attract him with? Meat, yes. But there's also these huge spotlights going up into the air. And I'm like, okay, is it? But I guess it's just a flashing light that he doesn't like. Maybe. And that a regular stream of light doesn't, because there were spotlights everywhere shining. And I'm like, turn the light off. He doesn't like the light, remember? Damn it.
You might have the same reaction. Somebody flashes a light in your face and you weren't expecting it.
Yeah, but then they use that light later, like the flashing light later to like, in the dome to like freak him out and stuff. Right. Or to like
it's just like
it's just whatever.
It's just like all those older ones where they can't make up their mind. Does the light repel them or attract them? It does whatever we need it to do at the moment.
It's so funny.
That we need to put that on our bingo cards. You can get our Kaiju bingo cards on our Patreon, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. It's in one of the early posts.
This movie is a bingo movie. There is I want to say almost every square will be taken in this movie because they hit every single one of the classics, like all of them. Yeah. Like maybe the one thing I didn't see was like power lines, but everything like Lady Scientist.
There had to be power lines at some point, don't you think?
Yeah, but I mean, not that like the monster either like grabs and rips apart or is used to like, you know what I mean? Surely there were power lines in the movie, but
no, but I'm saying I think one of them must have walked through power lines at some point because they usually go crashing through some power lines.
Yeah,
if they don't purposely set them up as a barrier. I think there had to be. I'm not going to go back and watch the whole thing, but yeah, there had to be.
I thought I literally wrote it down that it was the only thing I didn't see out of the like bingo cards.
Okay. Maybe not then. Let's see. So they're lured to the stadium where 2 of the 3 are successfully captured. The last one escapes to the harbor where it is killed by the giant turtle encountered by Yonomori and the scientists. Yeah, they what did they do? They shut the dome too late? It's one of those stadiums with a retractable dome.
The dome isn't shut all the way before they start
jams
firing.
Or something. Oh yeah. Somebody screws up because they're like, no, wait, it's not closed yet. So one of them gets away. The remaining bird escapes before the turtle reaches the stadium. The remaining birds escape before the turtle reaches the stadium. So he kills one of them, and then the 2 that they captured manages to get away anyway.
Yeah,
they just break their way out.
No, they have like, it's not an atomic breath, but it's something to do with like sound waves. Yeah. And then an atomic breath, and they like basically cut the bars in half and then just fly out. Yeah.
That's right. I think original Gaios had, a sonic beam that was slicing up the airplane and stuff too. So.
Yeah. It looks really cool too. Like the effect, the buildup of that. It looks really cool.
After translating the runes, Kusanagi explains to Yanomori and his daughter Asagi that the giant turtle is called Gamera and the birds are Gaios. When Asagi touches one of the stone amulets, she inadvertently forms a spiritual bond with Gamera, like you do.
Like you do. Something that was kind of shitty about this, though, is that later on in the movie, the dude that gave her this, like, little amulet is like, now that you have the amulet, you're a priestess. And I'm like, don't you mean that you fucking gave her, dude? Like, isn't this your fucking fault, my bro? Like, he just acts like she just acquired this, like, as a birthright or something. Right. It's like, no, dude, you gave it to her. This is your fault.
Kusanagi also tries to convince the government that the Geos are the real threat, but they remain focused on Gamera due to the destruction that he caused. Now working together to
Annoying.
investigate the creatures, Kusanagi, Yonomori, and Nagamine witness another Geos attack at the Kiso mountain range. Nagamine and Yonomori are nearly killed trying to rescue a child, but Gamera arrives in time to save them and kills another Geos. The last Geos, however,
for the
escapes.
kids.
That's right. Friend to children. Meanwhile, Asagi discovers that she suffers the same wounds and fatigue as Gamera due to their shared bond. So there's like voodoo doll shit going on here.
I know.
Or Corsican twin shit. Yeah, they're more like Corsican twins because they're both feeling it. At Mount Fuji, she witnesses a military strike against Gamera. The attack attracts the final Geos to the scene, where it grievously wounds Gamera and forces the turtle to retreat into the ocean. Simultaneously, Asagi suffers a similar wound and passes out from the pain. Kusanagi visits his daughter at the hospital, where Asagi falls into a coma after saying that she and Gamera must rest. After consulting with a biologist, Nagamine and Yonomori learn that the Geos are genetically engineered and reproduce asexually. They speculate on the origins and purpose of Geos and Gamera. Nagamine suggests that Geos were awakened by rampant pollution and Gamera was created by an ancient civilization to combat Geos.
Is this our what is this movie really about scene?
I guess so, yeah. Pollution. Don't pollute.
Yeah.
Pollute, don't pollute. They approach
It is
Kusanagi
unlawful.
with this information, explaining that the incident at Mount Fuji shows that Asagi is spiritually linked with Gamera. Kusanagi dismisses these claims until he witnesses the amulet's power himself. I mean, that's reasonable of him. It's a ridiculous thing to say, but it just happens to be true. It happens that in these movies, ridiculous things are true.
You know, it's a movie thing. It's like the magic of the theater, but the magic of the movie.
Yeah.
Movie magic.
With Gamera recovering in the ocean, the last Geos grows unchecked, becoming a super Geos.
Whoa, so Gaius is kind of like trans, a little bit. Like, kind of like clownfish. Like, born one sex and then are like, hey, you know what? I need to, you're just going to swap her up.
Yeah. And, well, they reproduce asexually. So I guess they just lay eggs and don't have to fertilize them.
They fertilize them themselves.
Do they? I actually don't remember that part of the movie. I don't remember them talking about that.
Yeah, like at one point, it kind of like in the beginning, they're like, wow, all of these are female. And then like later on, they're like, oh, wait, they can turn themselves into males. They like lay eggs and then turn themselves into males and then fertilize the eggs.
That's gonna.
Ew.
I mean, that can be handy, but it also leads to a very limited gene pool.
That can be handy.
In an emergency.
It's a cool party trick.
Yeah. Well, you shouldn't be fertilizing your own egg because then you don't get any genetic diversity. You fertilize somebody else's egg. Yeah. Dum-dums. No wonder there's only 3 of you. Anyway, he gets bigger, I guess. The creature attacks Tokyo, causing many civilian casualties and prompting the government to focus on Geos instead of Gamera. Attempts to kill Geos end in failure, and it builds a nest in the ruins of Tokyo Tower. Hilarious.
Oh, it's so funny. It like puts its little eggs on Tokyo Tower.
Oh, poor Tokyo Tower. Wasn't Mothra putting her cocoon on it not too long ago?
Yeah.
It's always getting knocked down or used as a nest, or it's so humiliating for Tokyo Tower. It like knocks the top off of it and then makes a nest in the sheared off part. So embarrassing. I wonder if whoever designed that thing just sees these movies and they're like, God damn it! Stop disrespecting my tower. Upon awakening from her sleep, Asagi warns the others that Gamera has recovered and will attack Geos. Gamera catches Geos by surprise, destroying its nest and eggs. I guess this is how we know that they reproduce asexually, because it just laid the eggs and there was all the other ones were dead. So he must have fertilized his own eggs. A massive air battle ensues, and Asagi, Kusanagi, Nagamine, and Yonomori follow closely in a helicopter, because Philo. Initially,
'Cause
Gaios
Philo.
overpowers Gamera, but Asagi uses her spiritual energy to revive Gamera. You can do it. Who kills Gaios? Gamera, after using his bond with Asagi to heal her, releases Asagi from their bond and returns to the sea. Does the amulet kind of disappear or get destroyed?
It doesn't disappear. It just stops glowing.
Stops glowing. Turns off. Loses its connection. When Nagamine and Yonomori predict the possibility that Gaios or other threats may arise, Asagi states that Gamera will return if that happens. Gamera will return in Thunderball. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Gamera, Guardian of the Universe? Tokyo, anyway.
Yeah.
It seems like a bit of an overstatement. Gamera was not, in fact, guarding the entire universe.
Well, maybe it's just that, like, we just saw this because, Tokyo, but maybe, like, he's going to guard other places and we just don't get to see it. It's off camera. It's his off-camera job. This is just the job we did see.
Yes.
I don't know.
I don't know. It looked like he'd been snoozing for years.
Yeah.
Until Gaios woke up, I guess. And he's like, oh, time to get to work. So what were you saying? You love this movie?
Yeah, I love it. I thought it was so good. There were so many, like, funny parts, too, to kind of, like, break up the serious, action-y parts. Like, one of the things I can remember right now is the cab driver. The cab driver, when she gets in, she's like, take me here. And he's like, I can't. What? There's a big monster. And she's like, take me as far as you can. And then he just goes through the police barriers and then turns around. He's like, I've always wanted to do that. Like, it's just silly. It's so funny. It's so good. The government annoying people, trying to kill Gamera when he's the good guy. It's a tale as old as time. But we've seen it. We've seen it once. We'll see it again. It was just so good. There were so many good moments in it too, and like just better. You could see. I feel like they left all of the good things, all of the things that make a kaiju movie. Like the train, Gaios picking up the train, and like all of the people falling out. Oh, there was a really cool moment where this guy gets eaten. And like the crunch of the guy, and then it shows his like Walkman on the ground. Like that was such a cool moment too. There was also this moment where we saw missiles being fired at Gamera, but the perspective of the camera, like the POV, is like the missiles were like coming towards the camera. It looks so cool. That was really awesome. I wrote so many times that that Nagamine was such a badass. Every time she like stood up for somebody or stood up for herself or whatever, I was like, man, she is such a badass. Also, did you notice the Mary Poppins poster in Asagi's room?
No, I don't think I did.
It was so cute. It was a Japanese Mary Poppins poster. I was like, oh my gosh, wow. How cute. So that was another reason why I was like, yeah, she does look a little bit older for like, a Panchito or a Panchita. But she's still in school. There's like a few scenes with her in school, like with her little friends and stuff. And then like her bedroom is very like young girl. I think they did try to make her look younger than she actually was, but she was so cool. And then I also kind of feel like maybe Mickey's character and Godzilla kind of influenced this character a little bit.
Could be. Could be her psychic connection.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought she did such a good job. I really loved her. I loved her character. I felt like all of the girls in this movie were so badass. And I will say also that this like very tiny little bit of romance that we get in this movie is very subtle. It's good. It's I feel like it added to the storyline a little bit. It never like was distracting or took away or was annoying. So I'll say that also. It was probably the best tiny little bit of romance that we've seen, where he's like, one of these days I'm going to show you gonna take you through Tokyo when there aren't giant monsters fucking shit up. And she's like, oh, arigato. And then when the monsters are fighting, they have this amazing underneath camera angle. And we have seen this before where we're like looking up at the monsters, but this was like when they're fighting. So you're looking up at both of the monsters. And I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, it really helps with making them seem like they're actually large.
Yes. There's a moment too in the beginning where they're first showing Gamera kind of before he's like woken up, or maybe he has woken up, but he's just kind of like, they don't know it's him yet. And there's a hammerhead shark swimming in front of him. So you kind of see how big he is in comparison to this very large shark. And I thought that was really great too. And then he blew Gaius' face right off.
So, Honeybee, what are you going to rate Gamera Guardian of the Universe?
I'm going to give it 5 stars. It was 5 stars for me.
I'm going to give it 5 stars too. It is, I think, the best Gamera movie so far.
For sure.
They really took it up a notch. They've been just sitting there letting Toho do Godzilla, and I don't know the details, but somebody said, hey, time to bring Gamera back, and we got to bring our A game. And they really did. Yeah. Remember I told you really way back that there would come a time when the Gamera movies might be better than the Godzilla movies. And this is that time. The Godzilla movies are pretty good right now too, though. So it's hard to say so definitely that one's better than the other, but they're both really, really good.
They really are. And especially because the last Gamera movie we saw was just a lot of like clips from all the previous Gamera movies. So it was kind of, you know, not the greatest departure that we've had, you know, from like that movie to this movie all of those years. It was that movie was kind of lame. It was good in its own right, and in my opinion, but it was just a lot of like the same shit that we had already seen, you know. So going from that to this movie, it's infinitely better. It's so good. This is definitely a bingo movie because I like, there's just so many things in it that are like, ooh, we've seen this. Ooh, we've seen this. Even the Philo moment when the guy, I can't remember his name right now. Nagamini's love interest. What is his name?
The captain, the Coast Guard guy?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yonomori, yes, that's right.
Yoshinari Yonomori.
Yeah, even him, like, at the beginning, he, like, goes to his boss, and he's like, hey, look, I was there with the plutonium, so I have a lot of responsibility in this. You mind if I just tag along for the rest of this film? Because Philo. And the boss is like, yeah, sure, buddy, go right on ahead.
I feel responsible. Yeah.
This is so good. It was so good. I loved it. I loved it so much. It was chef's kiss.
Okay, well, folks, you can watch Gamera Guardian of the Universe on Prime Video. I believe it is included free with Prime. Where did you watch it?
Hell yeah. I watched it on Tubi.
Oh, okay. So it's also on Tubi, free with commercials. And Pluto started their Godzilla channel last week.
Woo, woo. Did you look and see if movies were like on demand?
So yeah, well they are. It's so you remember I predicted that Biollante would not be on there.
Yeah.
I saw an article from the Nerdist claiming that it was going to be along with Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, which is apparently also hard to find. I can't remember now if King Ghidorah, but as of right now, as we're recording this, it's not on there. So I don't know if it has to premiere first and then it'll be on demand.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. Right now, it looks like almost all the movies are streaming live, but also available on demand. Woo-hoo. But I didn't see Biollante listed, and I forgot to look to see if Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah was on there as well. So I don't know. Keep an eye on it. Maybe it'll show up. A Nerdist usually knows what they're talking about, but I don't know. I don't know. But it's great. Everybody seems really excited about it. And there's also the Mothra movies are on there as well. It's not just Godzilla. I think Rodan is on there too. So great. But yeah, you can watch Gamera on Amazon or you can watch it on Tubi. So there you go, folks. I think that's going to about wrap it up. Next week's movie is Godzilla versus Destroyer, which you can watch on Pluto.tv if you don't have access to it elsewhere. It is the last of the Heisei Godzilla movies.
Oh my gosh. The last
So we will be saying goodbye to some characters. The last Heisei Godzilla, not the last one ever.
Yeah, but you know, in the movie even they're like, this may be the last Godzilla or whatever.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and they had announced, spoiler, folks, they promoted the movie saying Godzilla's going to die in this movie.
Are you serious?
Yep. Apparently they used that as a selling point. They were telling everybody this is going to be the last one. We're going to kill him.
Oh
but then they
God.
put it, well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that next week. I won't say any more about it. And next week we will be in Chicago at G-Fest.
Woo! We're
going to record ahead of time, so your regularly scheduled episode will be out next week. But follow us on all the things, because we'll be posting things to Facebook, to Instagram. I'm going to try to do some Facebook Live. We don't have enough followers to do Instagram Live or YouTube Live. So follow us, for God's sake. But I believe anyone can do Facebook Live. But we'll be recording content. I'll be presenting a panel, as I mentioned before, on role-playing games, kaiju and role-playing games. If you're at G-Fest, look for us. We will be walking around, looking sharp.
Come take a picture with us.
So, until next week, I have been Precious D.
And I have been Honey Bee.
Remember to keep calm and take shelter in basements.
And please, don't misuse science.
We won't see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go.
Yeah.
You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on your podcasting platform of choice. Our theme song is by the Texacato Folk Rock Punk featuring Lita Lopez. You can support the show, find links to our social media, and even leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/MMFTG.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end, what will I become?
Senwa Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
So we were trying to save some money around here. So we do two
Like
things
at
at
your
the
house?
same time. Yeah, at my house. My mom's like, the cable bill's too high. And I said, the internet bill's too high. So we got rid of our dish and we put our live TV on Hulu. So we could still get the live local channels and things like CNN, MSNBC,
Nice,
FX,
yeah.
your basic, we looked at the list of stuff and we're like, we don't watch most of this. What does Hulu Live include? That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And, we got it bundled with Disney and ESPN. So then the T-Moble 5G internet was finally available in our area because I kept going in to ask about it. They said, it's not available in your area yet. It's finally available. So I cancel the dish, take the 5G thing home, set it up. It seems fine. It kind of cuts out every now and then. The upload speeds were faster because uploading this podcast didn't take as long.
Nice.
But there soon becomes a problem.
Right.
Do you know what an IP address is?
I've definitely heard the term.
Well, you're already one step ahead of most of the idiots at T-Mobile. They had no fucking clue what that even was. It's your internet protocol address. It's basically how the internet identifies your computer and your router.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that kind of
Okay,
stuff.
totally. Right.
Okay. So that it knows your computer from a different computer.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people want to hide that with a VPN.
Right. Okay. Totally.
But
totally.
Hulu wants to know that you are you and that you have not shared your password with everybody and their dog.
Lame.
At least when it comes to the live. Well, they need your IP address to be able to give you your proper local channels.
Mm-hmm.
But they also want to know that it's actually you. You can use it on your phone and whatever, all over the place. But if you're trying to watch it on your TV and you're trying to watch the live part of it, it wants to know it's you.
They're like, show yourself.
Yeah. Now, the problem is that T-Moble uses a dynamic IP, which means it's changing all the time instead of using a fixed IP. Yes. So every couple of days, we turn on Hulu Live and it says, hello, Precious D. It looks like you're not at home. Do you want to change this to your home? You can only do this 4 times a year because they acknowledge that you might actually physically move and need to do it. And
or
they
maybe
think
like be
4
on
times.
vacation or something. Like go to Airbnb.
Yeah. Well, again, if you're just watching it on your phone, and I think even on your laptop, you're fine. It's trying to watch it through the Roku TV where it wants to make sure you're at home. Mm-hmm. So I call up Hulu and it doesn't think I'm at home. Can you fix this? It fixes. Had to do this a couple times, and they tell me, well, look, it's your service provider. They're using a dynamic IP, and this is going to keep happening. You might want to talk to them about giving you a fixed IP address. So I get on the phone with customer service to find out if that's possible. The lady on the phone, after consulting with her team, tells me it is possible, but I have to take the device into a physical store to do it.
What? The TV?
No, the gateway, the little internet router thing.
Oh, okay.
Gotta take it into a physical store. So I unplug it. I tell everybody we're not gonna have internet for a little bit. Well, we hadn't actually. I had canceled the AT&T internet, but it was still paid up through part of this month, so that was still actually functioning. So I tell them we're not gonna have internet, but you can still get on the old router. Take it into the store. Of course, the 2 girls working in the store have no fucking clue what an IP address even is. We get on the phone with some IT guy, clearly working from another country. Keeps telling us to do things that are making no sense. He keeps going back and forth between your internet browser and the T-Moble app on your phone, and he keeps telling me to go to this IP address. He keeps telling me go to http:// and then he lists off the numbers of the IP address. And when I do that, it just goes to like a Google search result for that. It doesn't, he's like, so now you should be in the account management. I'm like, no, that's not what's happening. It's just telling me a Google search result for that. It's not showing me. It turns out this was the admin IP address for the physical device. But he just seemed to be reading instructions out of a book, didn't actually understand what was happening and what the process was and how to explain it. Spent an hour at that store. I insisted on talking to his supervisor. He tries to start writing a ticket. I'm like, no, do not write a damn ticket. Connect me to your supervisor right now or I'm going to cancel my service. So then, okay, I'm connecting you with my supervisor. Ring, ring, ring. And then it just kind of hangs up. The guy never picks up. So the girl gets on the line with somebody else, and somebody from the actual internet part of customer service tells me, we use a dynamic IP address. Like, yes, can you change that? We use a dynamic IP address. Yes, I understand that, goddammit, but somebody else told me you could give me a fixed one. Well, who was that? I don't know what her name was. That was hours ago. He says, okay, if you have a business account, we can give you a fixed IP address. They should be able to set you up with a business account there, and it'll automatically do that. The girl said, no, we can't do that. He must be thinking of T-Mobile, but this is Metro PCS. We're a prepaid service. We can't do that. It's like, God damn it. Then I want to cancel my service. I want to return this thing. They're like, well, you have to take it back to the store you actually got it from because we're all franchises, and they're going to want the box. So I go home and get the fucking box. take it to the other store. The other store tells me, we don't do returns. What do you mean you don't do returns? So I'm just stuck with this piece of plastic. Like, yeah, we can't. Okay. The thing costs a few $100, but of course it was on sale for like $23, $27. But the actual list price for it is $200 or $300.
Yeesh.
Like your phone, your phone costs hundreds of dollars, but if you sign up for service, they give you a free one, or they give you one for $20 or whatever. So I'm like, well, I want to cancel this part of my service, not our family phone plan, but the internet. And she's like, oh, we can't do that. You got to call the 611, the customer service. I'm like, you tell me I got to get back. She's like, they don't let us do that. So I told her, this is bullshit. This is terrible. I'm not recommending your service to anybody. And I'm going to actively recommend that they not use it. She's just like, yes, I understand. And yeah, I'm like, I got to get back on the phone with those idiots that don't know anything to cancel this. So I come back home, I cancel it. That woman was helpful. Of course, she wants to know why I'm canceling it. Because your company sucks. And nobody there knows what the fuck they're doing. And then they want me to do a survey afterwards. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing a survey afterwards. So I did tell them that person was helpful, but my problem was not resolved, and I will not recommend you. I gave them a 1 for my likelihood to recommend people, or a 0. I think I could give them a 0. And they're like, we're sorry to hear that. Would you like to talk to someone, or you can leave a message? I'm like, I better just leave a message. But I did leave a message telling them, you're terrible, you suck. I wasted my whole goddamn day dealing with this shit. But then today, I'm like, I got to put this device back in the box and then see if there's anything I can do with it. And then I'm looking at the little piece of paper with it. And there's a little thing about, for return policy, go to this address. So I go to the web address, and it tells me that Metro by PCS would be happy to do a return on my device and just make sure everything's in the box and it's all functioning and it isn't broken. And I'm like, God damn it. So I packed it all up nicely. I'm like, I'm taking this thing back in there tomorrow. I'm printing out this policy, and I've got the receipt, found the receipt. I'm taking this thing back in there tomorrow, and I don't care if it's only $27. They're fucking giving me my money back, and they're taking this piece of shit. So, do not pay attention to John Travolta and the guys from Scrubs who are telling you how great Metro PCS's 5G internet is. If you're using any service that needs to be able to identify your IP address, it's going to cause you a problem. And it would just kind of cut out every now and then. I mean, every internet I've ever had sometimes just cuts out a little bit, but it seemed to do it a little too much. So fuck those guys.
Man, this is why I do not work at a call center anymore, because everyone would call and just be so angry, and like, you really don't, like, the training is so stupid. You get like a script that's just supposed to help you help people, and you don't know shit. You don't. It's so hard. And it was like so frustrating. One of the hardest things is like, people are so upset and so mean over the phone. I was like, I cannot do it. And it's like, not, it's like, it's And I've had T-Moble for a while, and the phone service, and I do not have very good things to say.
We've been using them for a while, and it's not usually a big problem just with the phone. What problems have you been having with the phone?
I just like don't have service in certain places.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like not. It's places now. It's a little bit better as I just recently moved, but the place that I was living at before this, like, I didn't have any phone service.
Oh, yeah.
And it was crazy because my neighbors would have phone service, and like
Right.
I'd have to like walk over to my neighbor's house for my phone to get a bar,
right,
so that I could actually text you back or something.
Yeah. I remember that.